Today on CityCast Chicago, we all know you can get books at the library, that's a given, but your library card can do way more than you think, even outside of your local branch. I'm talking arts and crafts, events, instruments. As Chicago Public Libraries celebrate 150 years, we're diving into all the ways to enjoy this critical and free resource, and some of them may even surprise you. It's Thursday, July 13th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. Patrick Molloy is Government and Public Affairs Director for Chicago Public Libraries, and Alejandra Santana manages the Manning branch on the Near West Side. Welcome to CityCast Chicago.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you very much.
Patrick, I want to start with you. One program that actually changed this summer, which was one of my favorites, was the ability to get passes to various museums and cultural institutions through the library. Can you explain what shifted and why?
Our Museum Pass program is something that's been around for several years, and it's been very popular. But I think many of the people who've taken advantage of it have seen how it's really been about a first come, first serve. You've got to go into the library and hope that the pass for the specific museum you're looking for is available in that library. And at times, folks had to drive around to find the right location where that particular pass was. And fortunately, now with this, we're excited to offer this online, where this digital pass is available for everyone, no matter where they are. They just need to go into the Chicago Public Library website and put in their library card information, and there's a whole host of participating museums. Not only many of the museums that have participated before, but we've got several others that are around Chicago and even the state of Illinois. We're really excited about making this much more accessible for folks.
Alejandra, I wanted to just quickly ask you, at one point, were these museum passes available in your branch, and do you know how often they were checked out, if they were just like always gone?
Yes, so these were available in my branch. We actually had a big poster board where we had stars, where blue stars meant they were in, red stars meant they were out. And it was a great visual cue for a lot of people because they would just come in, look at the board, and leave. But we never had the Shut Aquarium or the Museum of Science and Industry because it was constantly checked out. But when people came in, they were still like, okay, well, what else do we have? And they would see something new.
And then that smile would get on your face, and he was like, I got you in here. Well, even though accessibility is at the forefront, Patrick, I know that you all have had to respond to some criticism from parents who say they feel like there are fewer options and that the newer program is more difficult to navigate. How do you respond to those parents?
A few things are important to point out. One is that folks are still, we still encourage patrons to come into our libraries, and we have knowledgeable staff members that can help them navigate. They can still come into their local branch library, get help online. But I think it's important also to point out that our library staff, they're knowledgeable and they can connect folks to the resources in general. I think what's changed in the Museum Pass program overall is I think when we first started this, we were the only game in town. And I think a lot of these museums are also offering their own free days for folks, or maybe on specific days for teachers or for teens or folks with WIC or SNAP cards. And I think it's important that in addition, we want them to take advantage of this digital program, which we're really excited about. But there are other resources even going beyond that where we can connect folks with some of these free days. And I think another important thing is that this is going to evolve over time. And so I think one of the things in the past, we had the physical a lot of what the money going into the program was printing these physical passes to different locations. And now we have potential partners can join over time. I mean, you can check in, every once in a while and see that there are new partners, or that maybe some of the participating museums are participating, they're offering something new. We really expect this to evolve over time. And there's also opportunities to go, the Lincoln Presidential Museum in Springfield, right? It's outside of Chicago, but it's something that is included in this now.
This program, is it year-round? It's not just for summertime shy. This website and these discounts will be available throughout the year?
Absolutely, yeah, throughout the year.
Do you have a sense of one-to-one passes, like the number of passes that existed in our library system compared to how many maybe free passes or discounts will be offered online?
The specific offerings are always going to be set by the institutions themselves.
Got it.
But I could tell you that previously with the physical passes, we offered, we offered passes for 19 attractions. And right now, I believe it's around 64, the last I checked, different attractions that we're offering.
Beautiful. I'd love to talk about all of the resources available in the Chicago Public Library system. I have used our library for everything from archival research for my graduate thesis. I have gone in there and seen plays and programs put on at like the Harold Washington. And I'm not gonna lie, I've also gone in the Blackstone branch for a photo shoot because a background full of books inside a library just looks absolutely fire. And so having used the library for so many things, it's always important for me to make sure people are aware. So Alejandra, what do you think is the most slept on or surprising resource that your library card can get you?
Ooh, I think it's all of our database access.
Okay.
Like you mentioned the archives for your thesis, but we have so many, like A through Z. There are so much. You can look up, your family history. We have a lot for genealogy. We have some that people I know don't even know about, like the Culturegrams, which is a really cool database where you can actually look up like custom lifestyles of people around the world. So if you're planning on going to that country to visit, you can do some research before you go. For teens, one of the ones that I think is really slept on for the database is this, like, it's a critical literary database, and it really helps the teens out. It's kind of like SparkNotes, but online.
I knew where you was going with it.
Yes, it's so helpful. It breaks down the themes, everything that the teacher's going to ask you. It breaks it down.
I was just going to say, and I think people don't realize how critical these databases can be because people just assume you can go to Google. But when you really want to get specific in something, when you want to find a particular brand of research or really hone in on a topic, those databases, which are often not only very expensive or sometimes only available to like people who are in university or who are in community college, these resources are available to all the Chicagoans.
Yes, if you have your library card, you have access to the major resources like EBSCO and JSTOR, and you don't have to be in a university to have access to that. And they're all scholarly articles. And we have so much educational resources. We have BrainFuse, which many people know it as a tutoring database for kids because it's 24/7, but there's also BrainFuse for adults. So the BrainFuse is also for adults with job seeking and for learning, just continuing education. And within the library, we have access to, like ESL classes, so English as a second language, ASL classes. We have a few libraries that do like get-togethers. And they teach each other. It's really amazing. All the things that we have. I mean, I can keep going. But
I know you can.
You just asked me about one, and I told you about.
You were
six,
like,
so
let
sorry.
me go from databases to classes.
There was just so much.
I know people hear library, they immediately think the computer, books, maybe magazines, but your branch also has a seed library.
We do.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we created a seed library to kind of give more access, right? Like we're all about access, we're all about exposure to new things. And so we have I guess it's like a cabinet, and each shelf has different seeds. So I collect seeds from people who, thought they were going to be gardening and then they don't garden. So they're just kind of sitting there. Or from partners, like we partner with a lot of organizations. For example, actually, Manning is partnering with a restaurant called Eden and then the Evolved Network. And we are actually going to use the seeds to grow some vegetables. And the teens are going to be able to use what they grow throughout the summer to learn to cook something later. So the seed library is just a great stepping stone because we have the seeds and it's like, oh, well, I don't know how to plant. What do we do? We have a whole bunch of books that you can learn about. We have the computers that you can go on YouTube. You can research. You can figure out what to do. But the seed library It's exactly what it sounds like. You come in, you can pick some herbs, some flowers, some vegetables, whatever you're looking for, and just take it and start growing. We ask that it's kind of like a bartering. We ask that you come in and bring some other ones, but it's not expected.
Alejandra, what drives that enthusiasm? Like throughout this conversation, just the amount of times you want to bring up a new resource, how much smiling. It's very clear to you, like it's such a huge part of not only your job but your community. Like, just what drives that sort of love and an energy?
Oh man, it's just the passion of helping people,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that the library itself, each library and the system as a whole is constantly evolving and constantly trying to figure out, okay, how else can we help our patrons? What else can we do? And the patrons come in and they're just so appreciative. That's the best part is like
Mm-hmm.
everyone who's worked in a library has had this happen. Either they do like weeks, months of work for a really cool program that they think is really cool, that they think a lot of people will come, and you'll have one person who shows up. But that one person
Mm-hmm.
is so appreciative, and it sparks like a whole career for them potentially, and it makes it all worth it.
What's up, Chicago? Jacoby here. On this podcast, as you know, we work hard to bring you the most important and entertaining conversations happening around our city. But that's not all we do. We also have a daily newsletter that brings you so much more. Our free daily newsletter, Hey Chicago, is written and curated by Sydney Madden. You may have heard her behind the mic a couple of times. My mom can't stop talking about her. The Hey Chicago newsletter is your daily toolkit for being a more informed and engaged citizen of Chicago. It's packed with recommendations, tips, and secrets for seizing everything that Chicago has to offer. You can subscribe to Hey Chicago at chicago.citycast.fm/newsletter. For CityCast listeners, again, we're talking to Patrick Molloy, who is Government and Public Affairs Director for Chicago Public Libraries, and Alejandra Santana, who manages the Manning branch on the Near West Side. Again, we know that the books are available to you, but there are a lot of other things you can check out and bring home. What's the variety of media, Alejandra, we're talking about here beyond just sort of books and databases?
We have audiobooks, we have magazines, you can check out DVDs, CDs. We even have what's called launch pads for the kids that have pre-programmed applications on them that are educational.
Are those like the kid iPads?
Yeah, they're pretty much the
Okay.
kid iPads. Yeah, they're orange, and
Mm-hmm.
they're pretty much a tablet. Like it's exactly what it is, a tablet. And not only audiobooks on CD, but we have audiobooks that are about like what, like 4 inches high, and you just plug in your headphones and it reads the book. So you don't even need a
Oh,
CD
that's
player.
fire.
Since I know a lot of people are like, we don't have CD players anymore. But if you're like a classic person, we also have vinyls. So you can check out vinyls
Come
from the
on.
library. Yes. We have grab and go kits across all departments. So we have specialized kits that we are able to put together and offer to people who come in. It could be, like an art kit. It can be a science related one. We also have on the computers, we have software that you can also use. So it's like 2D graphic software, 3D graphic software.
Simone, we need to go make the podcast at the library, G. We be fine. We can save a couple dollars. Just
You
pull up at the
can.
library, 9 to 5.
Well, actually, what I really wanted to kind of go into is that we have media centers.
Okay,
And
tell me more.
this is one of my favorite things about the library. I wish we had it for adults too. So they're for teens. It's a center specifically for teens. And these media centers, I believe there's like 29 across the branches. And Harold Washington has a really cool one. They have a recording studio, so that is where you can record your podcast. But these media centers have just access to all this technology and hands-on like STEM learning for the teens, but it's also their own space. So they can just chill in there, and while they're chilling, they can learn something new, some new art, some new science. we have musical instruments that they can play with. We have sewing machines. They can learn to sew their clothes. We have
Whoa. I feel like when we start talking about like things like for young people to do, it feels like people say the library, but they don't really break down what that looks like. Because when you start talking about what do teens want to be doing during the summer, no, maybe it's not sort of checking out books, doing book reports, even
Right.
surfing the internet. They got their phone. When you start thinking about instruments, when you start thinking about recording studios, when you start thinking about access to things like fashion design and software, these are spaces that young people thrive and that they want to sort of get a foothold in.
Every library also has a teen space, and that teen space also has some of these cool things. Like we have the silhouette, the 3D printing, we have a Nintendo Switch the kids can come in and play, video games.
It was my after school hangout spot as a
Yeah.
kid before my parents got home. We would just go to the library.
And it has changed. It has changed since we were a kid as well.
Mm-hmm.
It has grown and adapted so much, and it's now a community space. Like,
Mm.
it's not come in, read a book, be quiet. No, it's come in, try something new, hang out, talk to us. What do you want to see happen? Because that's how we're able to make these programs and events happen.
Yeah. I mean, beyond those important resources, you talk about being a community center, having social need as well. And we know that besides what your library card can get you, libraries also serve as heating and cooling centers. Branches carry things like Narcan, which is an overdose reversal drug. What do you see as the role of the libraries overall in Chicago? A question to both of y'all. Start with you, Alejandra.
Sure. Yeah, the role it's exactly what I was saying. It's the main community hub because we are the only place that doesn't require you to buy something to stay in here. Like you don't have to purchase anything. So I'm just always telling people go to the library. Oh, I have to print something out. Go to the library. Oh, I wish I could talk about this book. Go to the library. I wish I could, make some t-shirts. Go to the library. We have
Right.
so many things and you don't have to pay for anything.
Mm-hmm. It feels like especially in Chicago, we hear so many organizations, institutions, figures tell us that this is all of our city. And the library is one of those things that truly feels like from the most vulnerable member of our community to
Yes.
young people to elders, it feels like the library actually follows through on that promise of trying to be a space for any and all Chicagoans. Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think that the main role of the library is to democratize access, just access in general. And I think people think of that, traditionally you think about that, access to books and materials but I mean, I think that just going to I think the library needs to be responsive to the needs of the different communities. And when you mentioned the Narcan that we have available, like that's a need in the community. But I think it's really important that we continue to look at ourselves and say, what are the needs of the community? Let's make sure that we are providing, again, that basic access to whatever it is, the ideas of the day, but also those basic needs like cooling and warming and just, whatever it is that specific community needs at that time.
Yeah. I mean, Chicago Public Libraries is celebrating its 150th anniversary this year. Boom, 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 boom. Alejandra, how can Chicagoans get involved in the celebrations either at your branch or others?
Oh, sure. We every branch, all of us, we are celebrating the 150th all year long. So we have events happening. We have story times, we have arts and crafts workshops, we have author panels, we just continuous celebrations of this momentous year. But yeah, all year round, you can go on our website at shipublib.org/events and it'll show you all the events across all the branches and you can actually filter by whatever is close to you or by the 150th.
And obviously, we talk so much about physical branches, but I want people to realize you can also, I just got my email to re-up my online library card. So you can also interface and participate in the Chicago Public Libraries using the online site and resources as well.
Yes, you don't have to have a physical card to use our online resources, like our ebooks, our graphic novels, our music, because actually they don't have to be CDs. But we do recommend getting a physical card because they look cool. And you'll have access to literally everything, the e-resources and the physical ones.
come in and get your library card, and especially right now where you can get that 150th anniversary card. Right, if you come into the library while supplies last.
Right. Good mention at the end. Good mention at the end. Alejandra, be looking out for me. I'm going to definitely pop in to your branch, see what y'all got going on the near west side.
Do.
Patrick Molloy is Government and Public Affairs Director with the Chicago Public Libraries. Alejandra Santana manages the Manning branch on the near west side. Truly was great to talk to both of y'all today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Before I let you go, a little bit of news, y'all. Governor J.B. Pritzker issued a disaster proclamation earlier this week after record-level rainfall, windstorms, and widespread flooding across Illinois. The order applies to 8 counties, including Cook, and will allow access to state relief. Rain is expected to continue into the weekend, so plan accordingly as flood warnings may be in effect. Officials are also encouraging Chicagoans to limit their water usage. While the Sky fell to 8-12 yesterday after a loss to the Connecticut Sun, there is something to be happy about as guard Kalia Copper will play this weekend in her 3rd straight WNBA All-Star game. You can catch it live on ABC at 7:30 p.m. Saturday. There's some good news. Slow Mo and Future Hood present the Femergy with Big Frida at Millennium Park tonight from 5:30 to 9. It's free and will also feature local artists Mr. Wallace and Jay Bambi. We love you listening along with CityCast, but make sure you're also reading Hey Chicago. You can subscribe now at chicago.citycast.fm. I'll talk to you bright and early tomorrow. Peace. I love it. You're committed to saying as much ish as you possibly can. I love it. You're like, every answer, you're getting 12 different things you could be doing, Kobe. I love it. I love it.